Tonight is a very special kind of foundation of the Monday night MarshStream. This is our performance broadcasting platform since April 2020. I'm Kristen Scheel, Development Associate for the Marsh. Greetings also to our YouTube viewers and welcome to a very special evening. Since April, the Marsh has been bringing you free programming nearly every night of the week. We hope you'll subscribe to our YouTube channel, the MarshStream, to be notified when our shows are going live and catch up on things you might have missed at our website archives. We will be posting a link to our virtual tip jar in the chat throughout the evening, and if you're a regular Marsh viewer, we hope you'll consider becoming a sustaining member. We hope you'll join us tomorrow for a rebroadcast of our archived Tell It On Tuesday from the night you may have sadly been watching the presidential debates, featuring performers Diane Barnes, Roz Leiser, and Jeff Raz. Wednesday on Solo Arts Heal with Gail Schickley, we'll welcome Ron Gee for a performance of his Alzheimer's Whodunit. As many of you know, we just finished this truly epic weekend. Please, if you get a chance to check out the archives, there's something for everyone. You'll love it. Monday Night MarshStream has been building block since 1989 of the Marsh. We specialize in works in progress at every stage of the creative process. Tonight on Monday Night MarshStream, we're welcoming 3 performers, Diana Brown, Stacey Andrade, and Celina Reynes. Our first performer is Diana Brown, co-producer of the Southern Railroad Theater Company and an associate artist with Three Girls Theater Company. Will be performing an excerpt from a play she wrote with Susan Jackson and directed by Wesley CayaByab called Not Worthy Enough, which takes place in November 2016. Lorena has been disinvited to her family's Thanksgiving. That's just one of the PTSD effects of the aftermath of Trump's election. Lorena seeks professional help. Will she be able to reconcile herself with the new world, or will she continue to make her wife crazy? And how the heck do you make gluten-free dressing? Please welcome Diana Brown.
Was a time when we, where were you when Kennedy was shot? Remember? That was the first one. Where were you when Martin and Malcolm and Bobby, and the list was endless. And then it was quiet for a long time until 9/11. Where were you then? Lord, what were you doing? So much sadness and horror. We were nicer to each other, though. We would ask, how are you? Like we really wanted to know. So much sadness and horror. And we were nicer to each other. We hugged each other a whole lot more. Even for California. Hell, even for me. Even my brother Sam and I, we reached out to each other more, you know? I mean, after a few months, we stopped like the whole nation did, but we felt, I don't know, closer. Kill the bastard. That's what Peepaw said. Never one to mince words. And we thought that was the worst of it. Didn't you? Until now. Fuck. Chucked in the gut. Every day. Every hour, waking up and wishing it hadn't happened. But this time we've ourselves to blame. Oh, fuck, we do not. Fuck does seem to cover a hell of a lot of it. Thank shit I never had kids. I don't know how I'd explain to them this mess that we're in. Not like Peepaw. Peepaw surprised us all when he up and lives another 20 years after Meemaw died. Hell, I want to sire me some grateful children. Looking for another wife at his age. Ridiculous. an embarrassment. He didn't find one, thank God. There is nothing worse than a feeble old man and a young trophy wife. And God damn it, now we have got one in the White House. See, Peepaw and I were always at odds. Oh, he approved of Reagan. Lord, even when he was filled with the forgetful disease, the Secret Service would put leaves in his pool so he could just scoop them right back out again. Reagan, not Peepaw. Couldn't remember a damn thing, but he loved to clean his pool. People got mad at Nancy when she finally started showing an interest in stem cell research, because it might benefit her hubby. Who cares? She changed her mind. It doesn't take a village. It takes a personal experience. Somebody you love goes through a catastrophe and then you get it. Do I have that right? Is that how it works? Well, you're the expert here. They say that people like me are seeing people like you more. Is that true? PTSD from the election? Here's what happened. See, we've always been a pretty close family. I mean, even when we'd argue, we'd find a way to connect. Well, except in me and Peepaw. Food. Recipes and conversations and arguments over, now, what was that secret almond cake ingredient? Or Meemaw's white lightning. Oh, she never drank much. And that'd be followed by hysterical laughter. And as we'd cook, we'd talk about the ancestors. You know, those people in those sepia photos not smiling. Sam said it was because it took so long to take a picture. Well, they probably had to take a shit. That was back when Sam still had a sense of humor. And when the conversation started going south, someone would say, now, hey, everybody, do you remember when Aesop finally realized that he was named after the writer of a bunch of animal stories? Yeah, we had an Aesop. There was talk we had a Jesus and an Oedipus, but I don't believe that. Well, we did have one cousin who thought he walked on water. Oh, wait. There was that Meemaw's brother-in-law, that motherfucker. He had a sense of humor. Anyway, food was the bond. Food fads. Sam did that caveman diet for a while. Of course, he was always one of those. And somebody did that raw food thing for 2 days. Oh, and Cassie, my niece, well, she was born a vegetarian. We could always find a way to eat together, you know? Until this year. See, I knew Thanksgiving was going to be interesting, but I didn't know how much. Peepaw wouldn't be head of the table this year. He couldn't keep things straight, and we had some new people, and the you-know-what happened. But I still figured we could make our way through. Until Sam texted me and said, it's okay for you to come to Thanksgiving, but not Adele. Because Adele and I had gotten married earlier the year. See, Adele had been to at least 4 Thanksgivings, but Sam said, well, things are different now, and she's not welcome. Well, who died and made you God? I said, and because see, that used to make him laugh. But he said, well, this is not a joke. I'm the head of the family now, and this is a family decision. Adele and I decided to go anyway. So we showed up with 2 kinds of dressing, one gluten-free, do not ask, and homemade cranberry sauce that Grammy gave us the recipe to. When we walked in the kitchen, Sam said, you ain't allowed here. You could have heard a safety pin drop. I had wanted to wear my Nevertheless She Persisted t-shirt, but Adele talked me out of it. See, Sam used to say aren't, but I guess he'd gone back to some kind of shit Confederate roots, proud of his, what, ignorance? I had, instead of the t-shirt, went ahead and worn my summer straw pink pussy hat. Cassie smiled when she saw it. You and your friend need to go. Friend. Fuck. Cassie, my niece, in her gluten-free teenage way, says, well, if they're not staying, then I'm not staying. And Adele says to her, honey, you are 16 and your heart is in the best place possible. Please, stay and eat our dressing. And the rest she whispers in her ear. Well, we love all y'all, we say, as we grab the non-gluten-free dressing, the cranberry sauce, my pink pussy hat, and headed to the park, where we sat on the slide and had our first Thanksgiving as a married couple. As we were getting into the car, Adele gets a text. It's Cassie. She did what I asked. Well, what'd she do? Well, I asked her to pretend we were still there, Adele says, and include us in the conversation. We imagined it went something like this. Cassie. So, Lorena, where'd you and Adele go on your honeymoon? Vegas? Oh, to see any shows? Oh, Wayne Newton? I thought he was dead. Well, he looked dead. This dressing is awesome. Yeah, I got all A's. Thanks for asking. No, I don't quite know where I'm gonna go to college. We knew she could hold her own. Cassie said she placed us between Sam and his girlfriend Margie, the one who looks like a deer caught. No, I am not going to judge. She just wants to please Sam. We never did find out if it was a family decision to not have us come to Thanksgiving as a couple. We didn't want to push it. Adele and I are family now. And Cassie's our family. Maybe Margie. And Peepaw. We gained a few and lost a few. I think that's how it's going to be from now on. You see, up until 2 weeks ago, I thought Peepaw had voted for that orange man. I went to visit him in the home, and he said he'd been wrong about a lot of things, and he wished he could change his vote. About President's Peepaw? Yeah, but mostly about you. I'd have changed my vote about you. I didn't even think he still knew who I was. Then he said, don't you let anybody get away with meanness, Lorena girl. See, if I'd known how mean I was to you and to the others, I'd have stepped up to the... The, what? Plate? Yeah, good. Baseball. I'd have stepped up the plate and told them to leave you the hell alone. Sam said you weren't normal. I didn't know what that even meant till now. Fuck, normal. Normal don't mean crap. You gotta be a good person. And you were the only one to bring me a cigar every week. And you're the only one that ever read Beowulf.
Read Beowulf.
Thanks, Peepaw. He ain't worthy enough to wipe your ass. Sorry. Sam? Yeah. Your guy got the bastard. Obama. I should have voted for Obama because he got that son of a bitch. Too bad I won't be around for the next fiasco. Keep the faith. Those were his last words. He slipped into a coma. Keep the faith? What the fuck is that supposed to mean? He'd given up religion years ago, or so I thought. Oh, hell. I should have paid more attention. We all should have. I think that's all I wanted to talk about, so I don't think I need to see you anymore. Wait. Keep the faith. Love you. That's what he meant. Love you. He ain't worthy enough to wipe your ass. Oh, I miss you, Peepaw.
Woo! Wait, it's got 4 years later. Yeah.
Well, here we are. 4 years later. Casey came over for those Thanksgivings. We got real good at making gluten-free dressing. Last year, Margie joined us. She broke up with Sam. The girl did it on Facebook. She slammed him on Facebook and told him to go straight to hell. When I saw that, I reached out to her and invited her, and she came. She's going to come this year, too. We are going to have us a big one. No drinking, though. I had to give that up for Adele. But we have added a few more friends, mostly outcasts like us. We are going to celebrate like nobody's business, or it's going to be the wake of the century. See, Thanksgiving in our family was never about pilgrims. It was about getting along. It was about appreciating each other in spite of our differences. Until 45 came along and blew that all to shit. God help us. I'm not a big believer, but we sure could use some Jesus interference to get that motherfucker out of office. Peepaw, I have been holding the faith, keeping that faith for 4 years. But we sure could use some Jesus help right about now. Oh, and I love you too, Peepaw.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Diana. I'm waiting to see myself here. Don't you let anyone get away with meanness is great messaging for our times, and that's also the first time that I've heard Beowulf allusion in a while. Next up is Stacey Andrade, an actor and author with over 2 decades of performing experience in the Bay Area, with Tee-Vee, a heartwarming piece in which she takes you on a journey through her childhood through the television's.
That was awesome on her part, wasn't it?
Please welcome Stacey Andrade.
I'm in love, totally in love, head over heels in love. Her name is Zoe, and when I say her name, I can feel this light bursting from my chest. I can't help but smile. She is my light. Literally, I can turn her on in the middle of the night and see all the way to the bathroom. Zoe's my Tee-Vee. I wish you could meet her and her light could shine on you. You could see how amazing she is. She's beautiful. She's thin with a black shiny border. Well, it's not normally in my nature to brag. She's 42 inches. I would never, ever watch reality shows on Zoe. She's so much better than that. Zoe lives in the extra bedroom in the back of our house. I just painted her room a crisp white. She loves it. My husband was helping me prep and reached up to where Zoe's mounted on the wall, and I screamed, "What are you doing?" He looked at me as if I was unstable and said, "I'm gonna take her down. You can paint behind her. It'll be easier." I just looked at him. Well, duh. Of course it would be easier, but then how would she breathe? Think, man, think. My love for TV started when I was just a tiny little peanut. I was really the first generation raised on TV. My early TV life was filled with strife. I was raised in the suburbs with my 2 sisters. They're almost a decade older than me, so I never had control over the TV. They'd come home from high school and turn on the soap operas, and all I wanted to do was watch my beloved Speed Racer. Go Speed Racer, go Speed Racer, go Speed Racer, go! Our parents were both factory workers. Our mom was the only working mom in our neighborhood. Our parents worked very hard to keep us our little tract home. We grew up by Richmond on this long street filled with young families. Everybody had kids and everybody knew everybody. Cable was a new thing, and my dad, who grew up with no TV, could not grasp why 3 channels were not enough. I tried over and over to present my case to Dad. "Dad, if we got cable, we get PBS. PBS is educational, so you're basically depriving me of an education. Dad." My father was raised by a single mom with 6 kids. I could tell he did not get the severity of the situation. How could I make a compelling argument to this man who literally walked 5 miles in the snow with his 6 brothers and sisters to get to school? I was screwed. Oh, to fulfill my love of TV, I became very resourceful. So I saw Dad in the backyard watering his tomatoes. I said, "Dad, come on, let's get cable." Every time I saw him, "Let's get cable, let's get cable." Finally, he said, "Stacey, go next door to the Smiths. They got cable." My poor Dad, just trying to water his tomatoes after work. The Smiths. Ugh. Susie Smith was a brat and her mom was weird. Susie was 6 and I was 7. I was Susie's superior, but Susie didn't get that memo. When I would go to her house to watch my beloved Speed Racer, she'd pinch the back of my arms when her mom wasn't looking and laugh. Stupid little brat. Her mom wouldn't give us potato chips though. Salty white Laura Scudder chips. My mom never kept chips in the house. She called it junk food. No cable, no junk food. You couldn't call CPS and your parents back then? I would have made that call. So off to the Smiths I go, rolling my eyes. Her mom would let us eat chips all right, but she'd put us in these tall bar stools next to the kitchen counter, and she'd shove this huge bowl of chips between us. And she'd watch with these intense eyes as we ate the chips one by one. And any chip with a brown corner, or God forbid, a green burn edge, she'd snatch a chip from our salty little fingers, and she'd put the chip in a Ziploc bag and she'd shove a chair in front of the refrigerator and climb up the refrigerator and put the bag on top of the refrigerator in the cupboard, highest above. And when Mrs. Smith collected enough of the burnt chips, she'd send them back to the company that did her wrong for a full refund. Weird. So for a while, I'd go to the Smiths to watch my beloved speed racer with evil Susan the pinch in the back of my arms and her weird mom collecting the burnt chips till I thought my little head would explode. So, like I said, to fulfill my love of TV, I became very resourceful. So back to our little Zenith TV, I went begging my sisters for TV time. I'd see one of my teenage sisters flip off the other teenage sister, and I'd say, let me watch what I want, and I won't tell Mom about your lapse in judgment. It's no wonder my sisters did not bury me in the backyard next to the tomatoes. This arrangement worked for a short time. But by summer, everybody in the tract had cable except us. It was a very dark time, man. Back then, there were no remotes. You turned to the 3 channels using this huge knob. And our dad was forever yelling at us, don't turn the knob so fast, you'll strip it, Christ. Then, one day, I was overzealous with the knob and speeding through the channels like a crazy person. 652, 7257. Then it happened. The turner just spun and spun. It was stripped. My heart sank and my little throat closed. Oh my God! This is what Dad was trying to warn me about. The room started to spin, and I fell like a ton of bricks on the avocado shag carpet. My world was over. I awoke with my dad and sister standing over me with perplexed looks on their faces. My mother was on the ground next to me with a cold compress on my head, and she said, Jesus, Stacey, it's just a TV. We'll get it fixed. Crap. Just a TV. Well, I badgered my parents till they called the TV repairman. I had enough Mad magazines to last the night, but what the hell was I supposed to do moving forward? I needed answers, and I needed them yesterday. I heard my mom on the phone with the TV repairman. She had a sarcastic tone. Oh, jeez. Could you come today? Apparently, it's an emergency. So about 3:52, the TV repairman arrived. He had a crummy van, and when he knelt behind the TV, his butt crack showed. If I would have been in better spirits, this would have amused me, but I was focused on his every word. At last, he spoke. Well, your changer needs replacing, and your picture tube, dead. This was bad, bad, bad. I remember having my little hands on the front window as a TV repairman drove away with our TV. My hot breath became deep sighs, fogging up the glass window. My parents seemed like capable people, but they just stood there and let this joker drive away with our TV. Did they even know we was going with it or when he was coming back? The next day, Dad sat me down. Stacey, brace yourself. The TV's dead. No, Dad, no. Don't worry. Next week, when your mom and I get paid, we're going to go put a down payment on a color TV. I was thrilled and flew into his arms. But I soon returned to reality. Dad, I'm so happy about the color TV, but Dad, what are we going to do till then? It's summer, Dad. Like I said, my father was raised by a single mom with 6 children. I could tell he didn't have the sympathy I was looking for. The week ended up being a fun week with Dad. My sisters were out at night, and my mom worked the graveyard shift at the cookie factory, so she could be home for us kids during the day. So Dad and I were on our own that week. He taught me how to make paper airplanes, and he showed me where my big sisters go to school. And on Friday night, he took me to my mom's cookie factory at midnight, and we got hot cookies right off the conveyor belt. And they let me take a whole bag of broken cookies home for free. The next week, the best week ever. Dad piled us in the Pinto, and we drove to Montgomery Wards and picked out the most beautiful TV I'd ever seen. It was beautiful and covered in this gorgeous wood and had huge speakers on each end. It was longer than me. It was a Magnavox, top of the line, salesman said. A week later, the new TV was due to arrive. Everybody in our neighborhood had gathered in our tiny little living room to see the first color TV in our block. That's right, first color TV on our block. The air was thick with anticipation. You could hear a pin drop. All eyes were on Dad. When he bent down and plugged that bad boy in and the color picture emerged, There was an audible gasp in the room. The show Here Comes the Brides was on. It's filmed in the country, nothing but green trees. Everybody was reaching out like you could touch the trees. And it starred Bobby Sherman. He was a star and I love him. I'm gonna marry him. I'm gonna be Mrs. Sherman. I just know it. Oh my God, green trees and Bobby Sherman. Could life get any better? I don't think so. My mom's best friend, Jackie from up the street, screamed at her husband, Ralph, I want a color TV. Ralph and all the other dads shot my dad the stink eye. On my 9th Christmas, Santa brought me my own 10-inch TV for my bedroom. God, I love that guy. This was very controversial back then. People were starting to have TVs in every room, and the general consensus was this would destroy the family unit. Gone were the days when people gather on the TV as a family to watch Ed Sullivan. Controversy or not, screw them. I had my own 10-inch TV in my bedroom. I remember picking up my little TV and putting it on top of the dresser Mom got us at Goodwill. That year, I also received what looked like a book. You open it up and there's 6 lifesavers on one side and 6 lifesavers on the other. All different flavors. I remember putting my little book in front of my TV and I stepped back. I had arrived. Dad came in and laid down the law. Stacey, you kind of have a problem with the TV. So no TV past 9 and homework first. Got it? Got it, Dad. Well, the TV on the dresser didn't last. I soon moved it to a chair and pushed it right next to my bed so we could be face to face. My little TV and I would sit there and watch my big sisters getting ready to go out at night. Someplace in Berkeley called the Keystone Berkeley. It had bands with funny names like Elvin Bishop and Bots Gags. They would rat their hair, spray it with Aquanet, rat, spray, repeat, rat, spray, repeat, until it was a couple feet off their heads. As a young child, this was both fascinating and frightening to watch. Then, much to my dad's chagrin, they'd throw on their hot pants and halter tops, and they'd run out the door giggling, and the door slammed shut. The silence was deafening. Dad would see I was upset, and he'd say, Stacey, go get your sister's wigs. You can put them on my head. So I would run down the hall and grab all my sister's wigs and her ratting tools and her big black bobby pins, and Dad would scoop me up and put me on his lap, and I would make him look beautiful. All the while, Dad was leaned over so we could see the A's game on the TV. Everything was right again. My middle sister and I shared a room, and it was directly across from our parents' room. When Dad would go to bed, I'd hear him when he crossed the heater. It made a noise. My sisters tipped me off about the noise. They discovered it while sneaking out. So when I heard that heater noise, I knew Dad was rounding the corner and coming towards my room, but I would be so enthralled with the old movie I was watching. I would turn the volume and contrast down, and I'd pretend I was sleeping, just in case Dad came in to check on me. Then when I heard Dad's door shut, I'd turn the volume and contrast back up, and I would watch great old movies till about 5 a.m. when Dad's alarm went off for work. Then I'd get a couple hours of shut-eye, and off to elementary school I'd go. Mom had switched to the day shift at the cookie factory now that my sisters were older. Then I know this sounds weird, but I would love when I got sick as a kid. I'd feel horrible through the night, and when dawn broke, I'd go into her room. I'd turn the corner, and she'd be sitting at her vanity getting ready for work. I'd just kind of cling to the wall and watch her for a while before she realized I was there. I never saw Mom before work. She'd be putting powder on her face with this long brush that added to her natural glow. She looked so pretty, so young, so rested. She looked so different afterward. She'd be glowing all right, but from a hard day at the cookie factory, and she'd have a layer of sweat on her chest with cookie crumbs stuck on it, and her arms and her face. My friends thought it was cool my mom smelled like cookies. But I was just a little kid who wanted my mom at the Halloween parades like the other moms. Mom would be upset when I told her I was sick. We both knew she couldn't stay home with me. Oh, Stacey, I'll call Jackie and let her know you're home. And I'll make you a big breakfast, and I'll call you at every break and at lunch. I'm so sorry I can't stay home with you. I felt bad for Mom. I knew she felt torn. But when that door shut and she left for work, it was on. The baby aspirin Mom gave me before she left work was kicking in. And I would run down the hall and grab everybody's comforters and pillows. And I would make a huge fort in front of the Magnavox TV. And then I'd run down the hall and grab all my Barbies. Even Ken and G.I. Joe were invited. And I'd set them up in front of the Magnavox TV, and we would have a marathon of daytime TV. Lucy reruns, cartoons, cartoons, cartoons. Then Mom would come home around 3:30 with guilt gifts. Byerly's orange soda, premium crackers, and Archie's comics. Life was good. I moved out at 19. Moved in with a high school friend. Turns out she was an intellectual. Didn't like TV. We had a New Year's Eve party and the house was packed. 10 minutes before midnight, I turned on Dick Clark so everyone can watch the ball drop. I saw her from across the room, pushing her away, glaring at me, and she turned it off. I screamed, "It's just to watch the ball drop, you un-American freak!" My TV and I soon moved out. I learned a great life lesson: cohabitate with like-minded people. I met my husband. He too was an intellectual, but had a healthy love of TV. We moved in together. On moving day, I laughed looking in the van. He had a bed, a TV, and a DVD player. I had a bed, TV, DVD player, and some art. I knew we'd be fine. My mom died young. And when I miss her till aches, I turn on MeTV. It plays all the shows we used to watch: Bob Newhart, Carol Burnett, Mary Tyler Moore. And when I miss her till my whole body aches, I turn on MeTV really loud. And I pretend she's in the kitchen cooking dinner for us. It's silly, but it makes me feel better. My husband and I never had children. We have 4 TVs, 3 DVD players, Netflix, and basic cable. Hubby thinks it's best we have basic cable. He says there's a fine line between addiction and hobby. Whatever. Who am I kidding? If I had 1,000 channels, would I be here with you wonderful folks this evening? Hell no. That reminds me, I gotta get out of here because Zoe and I have a date tonight with a Akira Kurosawa movie. Cause who's my girl? Zoe! Zoe!
How will you make it on your own? This world is awfully big. Girl, this time you're all alone.
Thank you. Thank you all for joining us and helping the Marsh. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Stacey. A TV longer than me, that really sounds like a dream. And televisions really seemed like some kind of measure of a family. You really nailed that. Finally tonight, please welcome Celina, Reynes, classical singer, composer, lyricist, and writer, with her piece, Our Daughters, the first act of a 3-act musical about 3 father-daughter relationships, complicated and healed by the Me Too movement. Celina is joined by Mike Amaral and Tony Aris, and we're hoping that that we can pass this off to you now. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Before we dive into it, I just want to talk about a few things that are going to be happening with this 1 act because of Zoom being the format. So we did not stage it. This is more like a dramatic reading. Ted over here, my husband Ted, he's going to be reading the stage directions. And at one point, I am going to be playing a secondary character named January. And at that point, the stage directions will let everyone know what's happening. I will sing January's song, and then I will go back to playing the main character, who's the daughter. Just a short content warning, this musical mentions sexual assault, but it does so in a non-graphic way, but that's a content warning for anyone who may want to tune out at this time. All right, thanks.
A Mexican restaurant, late evening. Papel picado hangs from the ceiling, and a few candles flicker on the table. Tackily romantic. Margot and Margot's father are sitting in awkward silence, reading the menus. Margot is a young woman in her early 20s. She has a lively but not overexpressive face. She is young enough to not fear anything as a general rule, but old enough to be wary of a few particular things, including her father. Margot's father wears an immaculately trimmed beard, a suit, and a lapel pin that depicts the city flag of San Francisco. The waitress drops by the table. Margot looks ready to order, but then...
5 more minutes. Thanks. How's Mom?
I thought you were calling her Josie these days.
Not to you.
She's fine.
Just fine?
Well, she's got really into beekeeping. She bought like 5 textbooks and a hive of bees from a farmer on Craigslist, so it's probably a midlife crisis.
Oh, yeah?
Not because of you,
Oh, no, of course not.
but you didn't help.
And you, how are you?
I'm fine.
Looks like you've lost weight. In a good way. Not...
Thanks.
No. I mean, you don't look sick or anything. You look great. You look like your mother.
Thanks, Dad. It is awkward a bit for a woman who's dabbled in dating men older than, let's say, 40 to go and grab drinks with their father while knowing that onlookers might mistake her for his mistress. It's none of their business, and really, who gives a shit? But it's a factor when dressing, and also distressing to think about on top of everything else when you haven't had one-on-one time since 8th grade, which is pathetic, but you have to ignore it, because you want to have fun.
You rushed it. I got 10 messages.
There are 3 main distractions. The first is your father, the second the waitress, who looks like a woman you dated in college. Well, he doesn't know that. He thought that the person you dated was Mark. And remarkably, third is your father again, because now he is trying to flirt with the waitress, which means that your father and you have the same taste in women. Oh God, like an Oedipus complex, but gay. And he doesn't know it, but you have to ignore it, because you want to have fun, and you want him to see you, I guess, for once in your life to say, yes, you were a choice.
Then the
Voice
Q&A.
never undo. You won't say that to you. Fun's the best you can do, really.
Karen, I trust her.
How's Oberlin treating you? Must be a change living surrounded by cornfields 9 months out of the year.
It's fine. It's hard, of course.
Work hard, play hard. Am I right?
Yeah.
So, did Mom tell you about the campaign?
Yeah, she did. I don't believe I think it was happening until I saw you and your little lapel thing. You hate politics.
Oh, that's not true.
It is. You never talk politics with me.
That's because you don't talk politics. You scream politics from your little soapbox.
Got it.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. In fact, it kind of makes
No, it's okay, Dad, really. If he orders you food, then you're stuck for an hour at least, which is just enough time to go totally nuts. You could run up the bill or else fake your own death. That's assuming you don't die of boredom, but yes, you agreed and your therapist wants you to stop holding grudges, so fuck it. You'll order a drink, though he'll probably think that's a sign that you can't handle awkwardness without a drink, which is true. And he doesn't know it, but you have to ignore it, because you want to have fun, and you want him to know you okay. For once in your life to say, hey, you are a joy, Margot, despite all the dumb shit you do. If that's even true, he won't say that to you, will he? Fun's the best you can do, really.
So I was wondering if you wanted to swing by headquarters later. You know, meet people. take some pictures. You know, it's not all phone banking and district maps. It would be nice to share that part of my life with you.
I don't know, Dad.
Come on, it'll be fun. Everybody's been asking about you. They want to get to know me and my family. Sometimes I feel like under a microscope, actually. Not that I'm complaining, because, you know, the scrutiny is good. It means people are paying attention. That's half the battle, you know. And I want you to get more involved. Help me grow, help me be more evolved. With you by my side, Margot, think of the good we could do. I should listen to you, kiddo. You always come through. I know I can trust you, kiddo.
Dad, is that true?
Okay, so here's what's going on. Some woman from college thinks I raped her, and she tweeted about it. And well, it's gonna make the headlines soon.
Margot stands abruptly. Her body reacts before her mind can completely process what Margot's father has said. Did she hear what she thinks she heard? Something physical should happen, either accidentally or purposefully. Wine glass topples or a chair is knocked over. Upstage, a woman named January passes in and out of shadow. Her voice travels through the imaginary boundaries of time, distance, and memory.
Did you hear that?
What?
Did you hear that?
What the fuck, Dad? Call a priest? Call your therapist, call the police? Of the people who need your confession, I probably need it the least. What the fuck, Dad? What can I say?
I didn't want to tell you this way. On a cold night in the city, 1983, the air was dirtier than fog and smog. When I went to a party up on Ashbury Street, the sky was cloudy and gray. I looked but couldn't see the bay. There was so much gray. I tried a lot of shit to help me fit in. A cigarette, a gin, a blunt, a Heineken. I don't need to tell you the details, I guess. The moment I was standing still, a rush, then the room began to sway. Everything went gray. Then all at once, in a moment of clarity, she was next to me. She was next to me. Then moment passed in a dizzying blur. I was next to her. I was next to her. I woke up early when the sunlight came in. I felt the gentle heat. I lifted up the bedsheet. I left her sleeping, walked around for a bit. I found her name out from a friend, and that was it. Years went by and that was it. Another jerk who can't commit. But now the story doesn't fit. So what do you do with that right? What you can't control? What in the world can you say when everything's gray?
Made of black and white gold.
Gray.
There's still wrong and right song. Can you look at me now, swearing you didn't know? Did you know?
A cold night in the city.
Dad?
A cold night in the city. Up on Ashbury.
Show me the tweet.
Margot's father passes the phone to Margot. Lights up on a woman named January. She stands in a halo-esque light.
Here I'm playing the role of January. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay, okay. Maybe I'm okay. I'm not bad. I'm okay. I'm not. Everything's where it belongs. Everyone's where I can reach them. I am not coming undone. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay, maybe not bad. Not bad, not okay, not okay. I am not falling behind. Nowhere to look but ahead. I keep my mind on the surface of things instead. And I said there was no one at fault, and I took more than my share of blame. Still I cried my own personal pillar of salt when the memory came, when I gave it a name. So I'll give it a name.
January picks up her phone and tweets. As January types, Margot reads the tweet out loud.
Hashtag me too. January 1983. I said no. The police convinced me not to press charges because I was drunk. Now he's running for city supervisor.
I knew it could come back to haunt me this year.
Is that what you care about? Your career? If you're looking for sympathy, don't. There are some who would shelter you, but I won't. I won't lie and say I understand. We can't weather a storm in a house that you've built on the sand. And there's nothing else I can say. I am not going to save you. What makes you think I would try when
January enters the restaurant. Margot and January now exist together on a metaphysical plane of sisterhood and understanding. What do you want to tell him?
I don't want to tell him anything. He doesn't deserve to know me. Maybe there was a moment earlier when I thought, okay, we've grown apart. So what? People grow apart all the time and then they grow back together.
What do you want to tell him?
He looked at me and I wanted so much for him to see me. But I'm a mirror to him. He only loves the part of me that reminds him of himself. He doesn't allow for the possibility that I wouldn't be on his side, that I'm my own side.
What do you want to tell him?
I want him to know that I'm not him, that there are parts of me that he will never understand because they are so foreign to him and so beloved by me, that I hate him for burdening me with this. And that without knowing you, January, I know you. And I love you, and I believe in you.
Say something.
I don't think it'll make a difference.
Say it anyway.
I am a stranger to you. You don't know half of who I am, or what I believe, or what I have been through. You assume I'm okay, don't you? You don't listen, you leave, or you stay and deceive. But I'm not like you, Dad. I'm a stranger to you, Dad. I am a stranger to you, and you can't argue when your actions made it so. When I can't look at you, there's nothing to say to someone who I used to know. And oh, the pain that I've gone through that you were not there for, the freedom I earned piece by piece, the years after high school avoiding men who had done what you I don't know you. I don't know you. Or a stranger too. When you called me earlier today, I thought of making some excuse, but something inside me said, stay. He finally needs you. But this isn't the way. You don't care about me, do you? Don't you know that I see through you? Thank you. That's the first act of the musical.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Celina. I'm very taken by your musical response to this such a complicated stories. And I'd like to welcome back Stacey and Diana for a brief Q&A. Mainly, I want to ask a few questions. We don't have a whole lot of time, but I want to know sort of the occasion for imagining these pieces, which are all so different. Obviously, Thanksgiving 2016, Diana, is a pivotal starting point. And we talked about the themes that you and Susan Jackson often raise in your work, family and food. So maybe you could just talk a little bit more about the inspiration. Was this an occasion that you personally had?
Thank you so much for asking. Susan Jackson, are you there? And could she join us by turning on her camera? I'd love to have her weigh in on this. There's our girl. Susan, I'd love you to answer this. Susan graciously has given me co-writing credit, but really the majority of this goes to her. And I'd love her to answer that question. And I'd also love her to share the individual that we'd like to dedicate tonight's performance to. Susan.
Well, Diana and I are always working together in terms of figuring out women, strong women. And this one was set up because a gentleman, a playwright who we just found out recently has passed, Charles Luigo, he actually asked me to write for Swampland for the San Francisco Fringe. And the first thing that popped in my head was, what can I write for Diana? And as you can tell, our flavor is Southern, where we bring the real Southern experience to the Bay Area, one hush puppy at a time. So doing this was easy, knowing that Diana was going to do the role. And we worked together well, I think, because we both have Southern roots and food roots. And we once had a party actually where everybody brought different kinds of dressing. That's all we ate, dressing. But also, and then of course with what's happening now, we felt like it was time to update it, not knowing of course the results, but praying. Oh God, we're praying. Keep the faith, people. But the collaboration only works because Diana is in on this with me. So thank you.
Great.
And Stacey, when did televisions emerge as a way to tell the story of your childhood? A lot of this was very familiar to me. Rushing to the Tee-Vee when your mom left the house, like.
Yeah. Well, I worked with David Ford maybe about 10 years ago. I have 10,000 family members and a day job, so it took 10 years to write the Stacey Show, which is my one-woman show, and I didn't really know that's what where we were headed when it started. I knew, bits and parts of my family, but the TV just kind of emerged, and I am kind of a TV freak. But I have 5 PBS stations, so don't look down on me. Oh, and I have 2 funny books on Amazon.com, and you can really need a laugh right now. And they're available on my website too. And I just want to thank the Marsh because you're an amazing place that helps so many people, writers and performers. You're just a gold mine. You're just beautiful, beautiful place. So donate. If you don't know where to donate at the end of the year, Marsh.
Yes, please, everyone, donate to the performers through the tip jar. That's a great reminder. Thank you. And Celina, I wanted to know, was there some experience during the Me Too movement a couple of years ago that inspired you to explore this particular dynamic, father-daughter?
Yeah, it wasn't one instance in particular, but it was a curiosity, I guess, in how the children of the men who were being accused during the Me Too movement, how the children were dealing with it. And I also wanted to really explore forgiveness and under what circumstances are people able to be forgiven, and under what circumstances do they deserve or not deserve forgiveness. In this part of the musical, the first one act, the musical is 3 different stories. And in this story, forgiveness is not earned. So it just came out of a curiosity there. And, you know, over the last 4 years of wanting to explore those stories, not quite knowing the right medium, but finding that it worked well in a musical format. So I forged ahead with that.
And the 2 other acts are 2 totally different father-daughter relationships. And where did you find these?
Where did I find what?
Oh, the stories. You created them.
Imagination, I guess. I wanted to, the reason why 3 different stories is I didn't want just one story to be representative of the entire movement. And I wanted it to have an opportunity to explore like the intersectional identities of womanhood and daughterhood as well as just what exists here in this one act. So I thought 3 unique stories stitched together would broaden the scope a little bit.
Great, thank you so much. Just before we go, is there anything, Diana, that you want to share about where this work is headed and next steps for you? That's kind of the scope of the second question I have for all 3 of you.
I'm on Zoom, so of course I started off muted. Thank you, Brad. It is our hope that we can present this play in 2021 in its entirety, where you'll actually get to meet Lorena's therapist, who will be played by my amazing co-producer, Susan Jackson, again, directed by CayaByab. So you can check us out at southernrailroadtheatercompany.com and look for that to come. You can also find us on Facebook. Thank you all for watching.
Thank you. It's great.
Stacey?
Well, I've actually did get my show done, even with 10,000 family members. and I produced 3 shows so far, and I was, going to take it to the Marsh, and I'm still going to, as soon as we open up. And I'm just going to play, for right now, I'm going to start a YouTube channel, Stacey Andrade, and this is my website.
Wonderful.
And I'm almost finished with the 3rd book.
Excellent. And Celina, you shared a bit about that, but if you want to share more or invite your accompanists to share about their work and your collaboration, I'd love to hear about that too.
Yeah. Well, first of all, we have no plans to mount this production anywhere. It was going to go down to the Hollywood Fringe this summer, but that got canceled. So I'll probably take it down there sometime in the future. But Tony, do you want to talk at all about our collaboration?
It's easy. She's the genius. I just play.
It was really fun to watch you all work together and produce this moment. And yeah, really great crew. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I'm going to close out tonight. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us.